Hello, and welcome back to Becker Breaks It Down. In this episode, we continue to write exponential function models, except this time we're going to focus on finding the initial value. Up until now, we've always been given this value. So what do we do when we aren't given it? That's a good question. So let's check it out. So we can find the initial value by first calculating the change factor. So that means we use our change factor formula. That's the b equals y2 divided by y1 raised to the power of 1 over x2 minus x1. Once we've got our change factor, we're going to substitute a point. So that's going to be x and y. And the change factor b, substitute these three things into the exponential function formula, y equals a times b to the x power. And then we simply solve for the initial value. So this was an example from the previous video. We are working with the 2 points 10, 415 and 15, 677. We calculated our change factor and we got 1.103. To find the initial value, we have to substitute a point and the change factor into the exponential function formula. I have decided to use the point given by 10 and 415. So you'll notice that I'm plugging in 10 for my x and I'm plugging in 415 for y. Okay, so I made the substitution. And then I just need to solve for a. So basically that does involve dividing both sides by 1.103 to the 10th power. And that's what I'm doing right here. I calculated that and I got 155.7. So that would be the initial value of my exponential function. So let's see it in action in a modeling problem. Okay. So in example number 5, it says the unit of currency in Ghana is the cedi, denoted by this little symbol right here. Okay. Beginning in 1986, the cedi underwent a period of exponential inflation. And in 1993, one US dollar was worth 720 cedi. And in 1996, the dollar was worth about 1,620 cedi. So we want to find the annual growth factor. And we're going to be working with like 1986 is year 0. So they gave us data. They said in 1993 it was worth 720 cedi. And then in 1996 it was 1,620 cedi. So our data points, if like 1986 is year 0, that means 1993 would be year 7. So in year 7, the cedi was 720. And then for 1996, so that would be year 10, it had a value of 1,620 cedi. So those are our two data points. We're going to find our growth factor using our change factor formula. And so that's going to give us b is equal to, and then we're going to take the 1,620 and divide that by 720. And we're going to raise that to the power of 1 over 3, since 10 minus 7 is 3. So I'm going to calculate this, and I get approximately 1.310. Now they do ask us what the growth rate is. So if I do the whole base minus 1 times 100% thing, that's going to give me a 31% growth rate. Part B says find an exponential model for the number of cedi to the dollar as a function of the year since 1986. So we need to substitute a point and our growth factor into our exponential function formula. Now, it doesn't matter which of the 2 points you work with. You do need to choose one. I'm going to go with this one, the 10 and the 1620. I kind of like multiples of 10. So, I don't know. That's my only reason for choosing that. Okay. So that's what I'm going to plug in for x and y. So x is 10, y is 1,620, and then of course b is 1.310. So I'm going to substitute all these things in. So I know that y, like I said, is 1620. A is unknown. B is 1.310. And x is 10. So now I have to solve this for A. So what that means is I'm going to have to divide both sides of this equation by 1.310 to the 10th power. Okay. Now my calculator can totally handle this. Me typing in 1,620 divided by 1.310 to the 10th power. Right? Our calculators can totally handle this, no problem. And so that's what I did. And I got 108.84 for my A value. And so all that's left for me to do is to write my function. And when I write my function, I do want to go back and make x and y variables once again, or in this case, we're using t and c. So we're looking at the SETI c is equal to our A value of 108.84. And then my B value was 1.310. And then of course, I'm raising that to the t power. So that's how you can find the A value of your exponential function when you don't know what it is. You definitely need to know the change factor, so calculate that first. And then you can use one of your two given points and your change factor and substitute x, y, and b into your change factor formula, into the exponential function formula, and then solve that for A. And that's how Becker breaks it down.